While the number of exhibitions has kept growing, the program has changed in other ways. Although our attendance has risen steadily over the decades, now averaging approximately 4.8 million visitors per year, an analysis of the door count for the most highly attended exhibitions between 1961 and 2009 demonstrates a steady decline in the numbers attending the larger shows, from 700,000 to 800,000 in the 1970s to just over 400,000 in the early 2000s. The character of our exhibitions has also changed in other ways. During the 1980s, Philippe steered the museum's marketing efforts towards an approach that was grounded on a more scholarly basis. As the communications officer, Harold Holzer, has commented to me, quote, "We came to take pride in and boast about the fact that our schedule was crafted by the director and by the curators and was aimed at widening the public's knowledge of art history, not feeding into fads and the all too familiar. We made this into a virtue, and it has remained one since. Variety in genre, period, and cultural origins is the greatest thing about the Met's exhibition schedule. The purity of the creative curatorial mission is actually a strong selling point," end quote. An attendant manifestation of this increasing emphasis on scholarship was the caliber of the books that were published in association with the Met's exhibitions. I think it is true to say that the Met's exhibition catalogues embody one of the largest and most significant sources of high-quality art history publications in the world, for which there would otherwise be no ready market. That's certainly the case, for example, with my own two tapestry exhibition catalogues, where the exhibition provided a way of leveraging a publication that would otherwise have been untenable in commercial terms. Another factor that has played a critical part in the character of the exhibition program at the Met over the last 2 decades has been the extent to which Philippe encouraged and supported initiatives that were proposed to him by the curatorial staff. With 17 curatorial departments and more than 140 curators, the Met is a fertile ground for the inception of such ideas. Finally, it should be noted that the Met has been supremely successful in fundraising for its exhibition program. Emily Rafferty, the current president, was for many years the head of our development office, and in her tenure, the museum led the field in obtaining sponsorship from corporate and private sponsors. What then of the future? In recent years, as you can perhaps tell from the implicit narrative of this lecture, it has become increasingly apparent that the Met's exhibition program has become overheated. In various lectures that he delivered in the 1980s and 1990s, Philippe was already calling for a reduction in the number of big exhibitions. In 1994, he questioned whether the efforts to increase the number of exhibition banners on the facade reflected not so much, quote, the glow of health as the flush of fever, end quote. And he suggested that the institution could not continue to maintain this level of activity. Yet, despite those concerns, the number of exhibitions has just grown and grown. The problem is that with so many of the museum's staff now focusing on the education program, it's very hard to put the brakes on. We seem to be caught in a vicious cycle in which our academic staff measure their own success by the exhibitions they organize, and in which our business model depends on the exhibition program to attract audience to the museum. The balance between exhibitions and permanent collections was one on which I was planning to focus very quickly following my appointment as director. With the downturn in the economy, the need to make careful decisions becomes all the more pressing. Unlike most European institutions, the Met is largely self-funding. It only receives 10% of its operating budget from New York City and nothing from the state or federal government. All of the rest of its operating budget, some $200 million per year, derives from income we generate from fundraising, ticket sales, merchandise, memberships, and the like, and most importantly, from our endowment. All of our revenue streams are down in the current economy, but the most significant impact has been on our endowment, which has declined in value by about 24%, some $700 million. The consequence of this is that we will be facing significant budgetary deficits for the next few years, and we have already embarked on a very extensive cost-cutting program. So, in conclusion, I must emphasize that whatever decisions I make in the coming years, no one should have any doubt about the continuing importance of the exhibition program at the Metropolitan Museum, or the importance that I personally place upon it. Our exhibitions are a crucial counterpart to the permanent collections. From a programmatic point of view, they provide an opportunity to display and study objects and artistic movements that are not represented in our collections. And they provide the contextualization of our collections through the loan of key objects that we could never acquire under current circumstances. From a commercial point of view, the exhibition program is an integral component of our business model. Exhibitions provide newsworthy items, especially when accompanied by international news, high-profile personalities, or artworks. Exhibitions provide the urgency of now, the compelling reason to go now. They generate attendance, publicity, and a positive perception of the museum's mission that in turn leads our supporters to sponsor and donate to the museum.